Bitcoin down just a little bit in the last few hours. Many people getting a little bit nervous as it tests a key apex of a symmetrical triangle we've been tracking in this video. I'm going to break down everything you need to be prepared for in the very hours ahead. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way in. It means a lot to me. Check this clickbait out from yesterday's video, everybody. 12 to 24 hours, I said yesterday morning, and we are past that deadline. We're 36 hours in. I went for it. I threw myself out there. I went for it a little bit. I really thought Bitcoin, I just thought it was going to break before the 74% to the apex. We know, according to this rule, according to the data, it can happen a little bit before, it can happen a little bit after, right? And I thought it was going to happen, and it almost did. Bitcoin on this 6-hour candle right here just missed a breakout. And I want to break down what's happening on the charts. I'm going to really zoom into the hourly, track what's going to happen. Again, really, I mean, Bitcoin's still in the apex, and it's closing in fast here right now in the chart. So let's break down what Bitcoin's doing. One thing that's just so fascinating to me over and over again, we had this swing low all the way back here, and this was January 4th to a swing high. Remember doing videos about this very key Fibonacci support area. Look at how Bitcoin consolidates into these patterns, and look how perfectly it does it within these Fibonacci resistance and support areas. This is why I use the tool so much. That's why you hear me talk about Fibonacci so much on this channel. So there's the support, there's the bounce, right? And we obviously had our new swing high up here to that swing low support. We have a new Fibonacci resistance area right up here. Bitcoin saw resistance. We're getting that symmetrical triangle starting to form now because we have this lower high from this swing high. And look at, I just love charting this over and over again. And, you know, I was away from the computer a little bit today. I'm like, what's Bitcoin doing? Like, is it still consolidating and shrinking? And it has. I mean, look at Bitcoin from this swing low to this swing high. Most recently, you know, we were talking about this support down here. It bounced. We got that bounce. And then from that swing low to this current swing high we just had, Bitcoin now testing. And let me zoom in here and just look how it's getting squeezed, everybody. I don't have control of this, right? Like I said, I threw that thumbnail out. I really thought we were going to get a break, and we didn't. But it's all good because a break is coming. Trend lines are approaching. Look at this range here of the apex of this symmetrical triangle. When we're looking at the range right now, from where Bitcoin's trading from lower trend line to upper trend line, it's not even 10%. It's not even 9%. That move can happen so quick. And if we're really measuring Bitcoin from where it's trading to the upper trend line, under 5%. And from the lower trend line, 3%, everybody, from testing that key trend line. Now, simultaneously would be testing this, and we're very close. I mean, if you look at this new Fibonacci support area, Bitcoin is just above it, and that's what we're looking for going into tonight. Don't know what's going to happen. This is a 6-hour chart, but support-wise, right around $35,300 down to $34,000, you know, let's call it $650. That's a support area, confluent with this lower trend line. Bitcoin getting squeezed in between these support and resistance area, and a breakout. It really is. I mean, it's getting ready to happen, right? I really would. And I'm not going to integrate this into this video, but I really would watch other altcoins. Something like Ethereum right now seems like it's doing something, right? And if that continues to the upside, that could be a good sign for Bitcoin in terms of potential breakout getting ready to happen to the upside. That happens often with some of these altcoins signaling an impending Bitcoin run. So that's where we are. If we start, you know, and just note the 74% to the apex right here. The average breakout area, Bitcoin almost did at that upper trend line, didn't happen. And also note the breakout targets out of the symmetrical triangle, 53,000 area down to the downside, you know, 24,000 area, right? And it really depends what chart you have open. Give or take, those are the targets to the upside and to the downside. So going over and zooming in on that chart now, and here's the apex of the symmetrical triangle. Everything happening here. We're on the hourly. I've been kind of watching this rising wedge, and Bitcoin has broken the lower trend line, right? And I remember charting this earlier, and I was kind of measuring, well, where would the breakout be? Would that bring us to kind of a strong breakout below the symmetrical triangle trend line right here, and it really doesn't. It has us hitting the trend line. So this could be a very short-term bearish move, but it doesn't seem like it's threatening the trend line, this lower trend line. If Bitcoin did hit the target perfectly, say right here, right, eventually, and we're looking right around 34,500, you can see it's still putting in a higher low from this swing low that was on a couple days ago, January 17th or so. So even if Bitcoin hits this target out, this very short-term rising wedge, there's just a case for a bounce continuation through to the upside. I'm not trying to just, throw out hope, but that is potentially where Bitcoin could see a bounce and get an ultimate break through the upside. And just as very well, if Bitcoin breaks and hits this target to the downside somewhere at this lower trend line, we're there. Like, we're testing it. Bitcoin's got to do something. And if it fails, we're coming down, right? And so what does that look like? If Bitcoin does break to the downside, what might that look like for Bitcoin? So if we go and we look at this 6-hour chart, and let me get rid of this 74% so we can kind of see it a little bit clearly, what I'd really be watching for, and we see this happen often, Bitcoin will break out of a trend line. So in this case, let's say it breaks to the bottom, right? Let's say we break through the bottom, people freaking out, we're at $32,000. What next, right? Oftentimes, what to look for is some type of quick recovery at some type of support area, right? And right now, I think a good area to watch for is this swing low back here, right? And this was a crazy wick on this 6-hour chart, but this trend line back here down to around 30,000. If Bitcoin makes a strong move to the downside, are we going to get a bounce and kind of a pullback? And this happens often with these symmetrical triangles to test a trend line. Now, this is where, and it could be here, it could be over here, it could be over here, right? But we look for a potential bounce, a short-term recovery, and it would be the bull's last chance at kind of breaking back above this trend. But if we see failure there, that's a more conservative area to get confidently bearish in the short term, right? If in other words, Bitcoin breaks down, people get bearish, they put in their shorts, that's fine. Do what you want to do, everybody. But if it comes back up and then we see more resistance and we're going back down again, that's more of a confident signal that this might be a kind of a longer term downtrend truly to the target, right? But we always want to look for these potential busted patterns. Even if the upside, we get a breakout, Bitcoin coming back down, testing the apex, we need to see support in that area, right? And that's what we watch for. And I'm going over these things. I know I talk about a lot, but we're getting very close to a trend line being broken. Even if Bitcoin does nothing and actually just trades sideways through a trend line, that's a break. It's a very boring break, but it gives us a signal. And that signal in that case would be, man, the bulls are tired. And they're just not stepping up in terms of momentum and buying pressure. And that's a short-term bearish sign. So as that translates to the daily chart, we know, and I have the same patterns set up on the daily. I don't have the targets, or I do have the targets are set up as well. So on the daily chart, there's a lot going on, but I truly think the most important thing to watch for on the daily chart is, obviously, we have this 20-day moving average. Bitcoin's testing literally right now. This is the move we're tracking. Is this going to bounce off of support, which historically, most recently, it's been doing for continuation to the upside, getting support above that area. But truly, this 50-day moving average, the blue line here, is what I'm watching. I want to see if Bitcoin gets just one of those just crazy red days, right? 2 days of just red candles, people freaking out, Twitter's going crazy. You know these deals. Bitcoin's on its way to its target down here in the lower 20,000s, right? What happens in terms of Bitcoin interacting with this 50-day moving average? Meaning, does it bounce real quick above it? Do we see support above it? What's going on in that area? That's what I'm really going to be watching for. And I want to just throw this out here because this is one of the things I want to talk about in this video real quick. The case for Bitcoin to see upside right now is very much alive. It's very much there. And just this setup that I see, we talk about Bitcoin, coming down and touching this, and let me actually rechart it, coming down and touching this very short-term support area. It's a Fibonacci support, and bouncing, right? And so if, say it did come back down right here, boom, and we bounce, right? what do we have potentially in play right there on this short-term chart? I mean, this is what I see. And I see an inverse head and shoulder setup, right? Here's the left shoulder, here's the head, and here's the right shoulder set up with a downward sloping neckline. And this could be the potential breakout of the apex of the symmetrical triangle. So obviously there's a lot of speculative scenarios out there. Everybody, I'm not a YouTuber that's going to sit here and predict and tell you what to do. I think there's people out there that are listening to YouTubers in placing trades, buying, selling. I'm here to share the data. I'm here to speculate with you. I'm here to explore the possibilities, because that's outside of even crypto. That's what life is. You explore what's possible and you absorb that data, and then you make your decisions utilizing some wisdom, some patience, and some anticipation, and you make these wise decisions that are best for you. And everybody's different. Everybody's lives are different. So I'm sharing this data with you. I know what I think, right? And I know everybody's asking, I get messages a lot. Is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? I will never give that advice, everybody. I'm not here to give financial advice, but I am here to share very key data that's extremely consistent, and it's been consistent for us on this YouTube channel over the years, and it's really prepared us for me just great opportunities to buy dips, right? So this is what a dip scenario, and you know me, everybody, if we get a breakout to the upside, I'm just enjoying the gains. So that's what I'm watching on Bitcoin right now. Time will tell what happens, and you know, I'm gonna keep tracking this. So let's see what we wake up to tomorrow morning. If you're here right now, you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe, hit that like. I really appreciate you cruising by today. I hope you have a great night. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.